Have you ever sat down with the best intentions, ready to study, work, or finally start that project, and within 5 minutes, you're scrolling your phone, reorganizing your desk, or suddenly becoming an expert in cat videos? If that sounds like you, don't worry. You're not broken, you're not lazy, and you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to explore a question that's haunting millions of us every single day. Why can't we focus? Now, here's the truth. Focus isn't just about willpower. It's not about some people being naturally disciplined and others doomed to distraction forever. No, focus is a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained, sharpened, and mastered. But before we learn how, we need to understand why we lose focus in the first place. So, buckle up, because by the end of this talk, you'll walk away with not just insights, but also real, practical tools you can use starting today. Let's start with the modern elephant in the room, our phones. Think about it. When was the last time you went more than 1 hour without checking your phone? Notifications, buzzing, the endless scroll of social media, dopamine hits from likes and messages. Our brains are literally rewired by these tiny glowing screens. And you know what? They were designed that way. Companies spend billions to capture your attention because attention equals profit. Here's the theory. Our brain's reward system runs on a neurotransmitter called dopamine. Every time we get a notification, our brain releases a small burst of dopamine, making us feel good. Over time, our brain starts craving these micro rewards. That's why studying a textbook feels like climbing a mountain, while checking Instagram feels like sliding down a water park. But here's the good news. Just as habits can rewire your brain for distraction, they can also rewire it for focus. Before we dive into the how, let's pause here. Ask yourself, when was the last time you gave your brain uninterrupted time? Not half focus, not multitasking, but full presence. Now, let's go deeper. Distraction is not only external, it's internal. You might be sitting in a quiet room, phone off, no noise, and still your brain starts wandering. Suddenly, you're replaying old conversations, worrying about the future, or wondering if you left the oven on. Why does this happen? Because our brains are meaning-making machines. When we're not fully engaged, our default mode network switches on. This is the part of the brain responsible for daydreaming, self-reflection, and worry. It's like the brain saying, well, if you're not going to give me a task, I'll create one. This is why focus requires two ingredients: attention and intention. Attention is your ability to notice something. Intention is the reason behind it. Without intention, your attention gets hijacked. That's why you might sit down to write a report, but suddenly you're watching a video on top 10 ways penguins show affection. So how do we take back control? Let's look at some practical strategies. First, the rule of single tasking. Multitasking feels productive, but in reality, it splits your brain's resources. Imagine your brain as a flashlight. The more you try to shine it on multiple things, the dimmer the light becomes. Focus works best when you direct all that energy onto one thing at a time. Second, the power of breaks. Our brain works in cycles. Studies show that after about 50 minutes of focus, productivity drops. That's why techniques like the Pomodoro, 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of rest, are so powerful. Your brain is like a muscle. It needs recovery to grow stronger. Third, environment design. Willpower is weak, environment is strong. If your phone is on the desk, guess what? You'll check it. If cookies are in the kitchen, you'll eat them. Instead of fighting temptation, remove it. Create a space where focus is the default, not the battle. And remember, distraction is not just bad. It's often a signal. Sometimes we can't focus because the task we're doing doesn't align with our goals or values. So ask yourself, why am I doing this? If the answer doesn't connect with you, of course your brain rebels.
Now, let's bring in some real-life examples. Think about students. A teenager sits down to do homework, but between group chats, TikTok videos, and the creeping dread of math problems, focus disappears. What's happening here is not laziness, it's overload. Their brain is overstimulated all day, so when it's time to focus on something slow, the mind resists. Or picture an office worker. They sit at their desk, emails flooding in, meetings popping up, Slack messages buzzing every 10 minutes. By the end of the day, they've been busy for 8 hours, but haven't actually done any deep work. The problem isn't effort, it's scattered attention. So how do successful people manage focus? Let's borrow some lessons. Bill Gates used to take think weeks, an entire week of isolation, just him, a cabin, and a pile of books. Writers like J.K. Rowling wrote in cafes, but turned off phones and internet to create mental boundaries. Athletes use rituals, listening to music, breathing exercises, repeating mantras to lock into flow. And here's something fascinating. Focus is contagious. Ever notice how it's easier to study in a library or co-working space? That's social energy at play. Surround yourself with people who are working hard, and your brain syncs with that rhythm. But here's the twist. Don't think focus means being serious all the time. If you stare at a wall, forcing yourself to be productive, nothing magical happens. True focus feels almost playful. It's when you're so immersed in what you're doing, time disappears. Psychologists call this the flow state. You've probably felt it playing sports, painting, coding, or even cleaning when music is blasting. To build that state, 3 things help. A clear goal, the right level of challenge, not too easy, not impossible, and immediate feedback, so you know if you're making progress. Get those 3, and suddenly, focus isn't something you force, it's something you fall into.
All right, let's bring it all together. So far, we've learned our brains crave dopamine, making phones and distractions tempting. Focus is attention plus intention. Multitasking is a myth, single tasking wins. Breaks and environment design fuel productivity. Flow state transforms focus from effort into joy. Now, here's the final truth. Focus isn't about being perfect. You will get distracted. You will procrastinate. You will lose track sometimes. That's human. The difference is whether you let distraction control you or you control it. So next time you catch yourself drifting, don't beat yourself up. Simply notice it. Take a breath and gently return to your task. That's the essence of mindfulness, and it's the hidden weapon of focus. Imagine what your life would look like if you dedicated even 1 focused hour a day to your goals. That's 365 hours a year. That's 15 days of pure creation, learning, and growth. Focus isn't just about productivity. It's about building a life you're proud of. A life where you're not just reacting to every beep and buzz, but choosing what truly matters. So if you've been struggling to focus, remember, you're not broken, you're training, and every day is a chance to get stronger. Thank you for being here today. If you want more insights like this, daily motivation, practical tools, and deep dives into how we can become our best selves, make sure you follow this channel, because every day is a chance to learn something new, and every lesson brings you closer to the life you want. Stay curious, stay focused, and I'll see you on the next one.